Greetings and welcome once more to Sonic Odyssey, the music video channel dedicated to bringing you the last 5 decades or so of music in review and discussion format. Before we get into today's topic, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Please be sure to like the video by clicking the thumbs up button. That helps YouTube get the video out to more people, and we can always use that. Also, you can subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber, and if you like, you can click the little bell icon that appears next to it, and that way you'll be alerted each time I post a new video. And lastly, and most humbly, I would ask you to please consider visiting my Patreon page, for which there's a link in the show description below. And there you'll see the different tiers that are available should you be so inclined to help contribute to the channel and keep it going. You don't have to, but that would be greatly appreciated. There are a number of people who already do, and I am grateful, tremendously grateful to them for their support, and I thank you for taking the time to watch the video. That's enough housekeeping. Let's get on to today's topic. Today we're going to be listening to and discussing a jazz album from 3 highly acclaimed musicians, each with tremendous careers to their own right. They got together around 2007 and they performed a little bit, and then about 11 years later they released an album entitled The Bucket List. The clip I just played is from the Bucket List's opening track, Sometimes 11. As with all the songs on the album, each artist is listed as a songwriter for all the songs. So the entire 12 songs on the album are all credited to Phil Keaggy, Tony Levin, and Jerry Marotta. So how did this album come about? Basically, it seems that these 3 gentlemen got together in 2007 and in the 2007 bridging over to 2008 area to do some jamming together up in Woodstock, New York. And then apparently they put some of these songs into a performance, and they played a few live shows. I think they even did some in Europe together, or Japan. I think one of the countries they played in was Japan. But they didn't have anything recorded professionally or for release. It wasn't until 2018 that they got together and put the tracks that they wanted to, as well as some new material together, to create the album The Bucket List. And this was released finally in January of 2019. So let's discuss who the people involved in the project are. We're going to begin by taking a little bit of a look at the history and giving you an understanding of guitarist extraordinaire Phil Keaggy. Now, Phil Keaggy was born in Youngstown, Ohio in 1951. In the mid-1960s, he started playing in some garage bands. Apparently, initially, he had, in his 10th birthday, wanted to get drums as an instrument, but his father gifted him with a guitar, and apparently it turned out for the best, because he is considered broadly across the entire sphere of music to be one of the greatest guitarists of the 20th century. And he's had a number of fine releases up through the 21st century as well. So again, he started out with his first real professional kind of band was called Glass Harp, and this was in 1968 that he formed this band, and in 1970 they had their debut release. One of the things about Glass Harp that's worth noting is they were, in their concert performances especially, kind of pioneers of what would become known as jam rock. They would often take the songs that they had crafted and recorded on their albums and extend them and lengthen them with, improvisational performances and just jamming on stage. He has been a very open Christian for almost all of his career. He became a Christian in 1970 after the untimely death of his mother from an automobile accident that she had been involved in. And he has expressed his religious beliefs through his music, albeit much of his music is instrumental. He does have a number of vocal songs and recorded with a number of vocal artists, but he primarily has released a number of instrumental recordings, and it is for these instrumental recordings that he's received 7 awards from the Christian Music or Gospel Music Association, known as the GMA Dove Awards. And he's also been nominated for a few Grammy Awards during his career. And he's had an incredible career. He's recorded over 50 albums of music from 1970 through 2020. And he's appeared on or contributed to probably more than 100 different albums during the course of his career. So he really has done a great deal and spanned a great amount of the music realm. Among the great albums that you can check out from Phil Keaggy would include The Master and Musician from 1978, and also, if you like acoustic guitar work, you can listen to 1991's Beyond Nature. It truly is a masterpiece of acoustic guitar work. Tony Levin is the elder statesman of the trio of musicians. He was born in 1946, and he is a brilliant bass player. But not only is he known for playing the bass, he's also one of the early adopters of an instrument known as the Chapman stick. The Chapman stick is a polyphonic guitar-like instrument that has anywhere between 8, 10, and 12 strings, and it is played kind of through tapping and fretting the neck of the instrument rather than strumming or plucking the strings. And it allows the instrument to have guitar-like sound, bass-like sound, and also can be connected to a MIDI synthesizer and allow for other instrumentation to be heard by playing on the fretboard of the Chapman stick. He plays this on the album and also on an album that I covered roughly a little more than a year ago when I discussed Liquid Tension Experiment, a group with kind of a heavy progressive metal sound, and that's something he has played the stick on as well. Tony Levin has performed for most of his adult life. He's performed with the likes, he's most famous for performing with King Crimson and Peter Gabriel, but he's also played with the likes of John Lennon, David Bowie, Paul Simon, and Todd Rundgren, to name just a few of the people he's been in the studio or on record or on tour with. Jerry Marotta is a drummer who was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1956. He's been active in the music scene since the 1970s. He's been a contributor or been recorder on or performed on stage with the likes of Sarah McLachlan, Carly Simon, Paul McCartney, Elvis Costello, Cher, Stevie Nicks, the Indigo Girls, Suzanne Vega, and Iggy Pop. Currently, he's involved with a project known as the Security Project, which I believe is primarily centered on or focused around playing the Security album from Peter Gabriel, but they also do, I do believe, some of their own original music. They have a few live recordings that are available on Bandcamp under the Security Project, and they're really quite good and have a marvelous female lead. I highly recommend checking them out if you're interested in his style of drumming and the kind of progressive rock music that Peter Gabriel performed. Okay, so back to the bucket list. It was around 2007 again when this trio originally got together in Woodstock for an impromptu jam session. And this led to them performing live and getting some raw recordings, but not committing anything to a studio that they wanted to have released as a project. The album that we are listening to here, The Bucket List, was finally realized in 2018 and released in January of 2019. It has 12 songs on it, and it clocks in at about 48 minutes. As heard in the opening clip, this is very much a showcase for Phil Keaggy's guitar work. He is a wonderful and truly gifted musician, and his talents come through most brilliantly on this recording. The album has him playing both acoustic and electric guitars, and you'll hear a little bit of different styles of music. The album is very easy listening. It's a very gentle jazz album. It's not a fusion album that is infused with tremendous shows of virtuosity and lots of, fret burning. It's really more about the heart and soul of the music. And so they do touch on a variety of soundscapes. This includes such sounds as the bossa nova, flamenco, fusion, folk, and as you're about to hear in a snippet that I'll play in just a moment, a little bit of funk. So let's listen to one of the tracks entitled Steely Funk. The Bucket List is a very easy listen, taking the listener on a journey across a variety of soundscapes. Suggestions of Alan Holdsworth, Steve Hunter, and Joe Satriani can be heard through Phil's playing. His dynamic guitar work is just fluid and so full of energy and soul throughout. Tony, as ever, flows with ease and mastery throughout the different styles that the album employs, and he provides everything from very simple, basic rhythms to much more explorative and complex virtuosity on some of the tracks. But in general, there's never a sense of great showmanship. It is not about expressing tremendous virtuosity or fret burning. This is a real easy listen, a very gentle experience on the ears, and a real joy to listen to. It's quite a marvelous collection of songs. The last clip I want to play is from the 9th track on the album, and this one is entitled Caravan. here we have another example of Phil's nigh peerless guitar work. The track does a great job of showcasing his fretwork as well as a variety of guitar tones. Perhaps the only track that is more expressive than this would be the one that follows it, entitled Carved in Stone. And there Phil displays kind of chops that have a bluesy edge to them, as well as layering the guitars as they are throughout the entire album. There are multiple layers of guitars recorded. The album closes out with a track that's barely over 2 minutes long, entitled Blue Hawaii. On this particular track, it is a real kind of spacey and mildly odd sound in the background, over which a albeit brief lead guitar work is laid, and it is a wonderful closer to the album. It does a great job of taking your experience of listening to the album and drawing it to a wonderful and cohesive close. The Bucket List might not have won any awards on its own, but obviously all of the musicians involved have had incredible, storied careers. And even though it was released in 2019, it has seen a re-release, a reissue just this year in 2022, with 3 additional bonus tracks tacked on to the end of it. These are some jam tracks, aptly entitled simply Jam Number 1, Jam Number 2, and Jam Number 3, and they are really incredible displays of their performance. But I have to say I feel that these tracks, as bonus tracks, should have been included as a bonus disc rather than tacked on to the close of the album. The album does such a wonderful job of carrying you on this brilliant journey across its 12 tracks and closing out, as I said, with Blue Hawaii, bringing it down to a really wonderful and complete closure. It seems that these songs, almost as brilliant as they are, these 3 bonus tracks, detract from that initial experience. You know, I did not get the bonus tracks initially. I got this album a few years ago, so I didn't have the additional bonus tracks. I had to get them later. But the experience of the album without the bonus tracks is just so wonderful and a great listen that I do highly recommend you check it out. While I do also want to make it clear, I think the bonus tracks are wonderful. They're marvelous displays of true geniuses at their instruments performing beautifully. So I do recommend listening to them, but I think the album is best taken on its own. I give Bucket List 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think the performances are top-notch. I might even say that, especially for Phil, that his work is nigh peerless. Tony and Jerry do a brilliant job of providing the backbeat and rhythm behind the work that Phil lays down. It's extremely easy to listen to and very easy to hit the play button as soon as the album's done. My only criticism in the album overall is just with the mixing. I feel that as well as you can hear the bass in most of the songs, or the stick on some of the songs, there are times when he's using the stick to play the sound of an upright bass that it's a little bit muted, a little bit in the back of the mix, and the percussion and guitar work tends to bury it just a touch, just a little bit. It's not a big critique, but it is something that I felt took a little bit away from the overall experience of the album. But that, again, is just my opinion. You're free to share your thoughts and your opinion in the comment section below. I'll be delighted to engage with you about it. So I do highly recommend that you check out The Bucket List from 2019 by Phil Keaggy, Tony Levin, and Jerry Marotta. And you can get it in its original form or the deluxe form with the bonus tracks. It's uncertain if this trio will create any music in the future. It's probably unlikely, but never say never. We don't know. Until next time, thank you very much for staying tuned to the video. I would again ask you to please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay well, peace, bye-bye.